It began on a Friday, October 13, 1307. Before dawn in Paris, King Philip IV's soldiers stormed Templar commanderies across France. Hundreds of knights, old and young, sworn to God, were dragged from their beds in chains. Once hailed as Christendom's fiercest warriors, they now stood accused of grotesque sins, spitting on the cross, worshipping idols, obscene initiation rites. Under torture, many confessed. But behind the charges lay the real truth: the Templars had grown too powerful. Their network stretched from Holy Land battlefields to the treasuries of kings. They answered only to the Pope, owned castles, fleets, and were unimaginably wealthy. That night, their treasure vanished. Some whispered of ships fleeing La Rochelle under cover of darkness. Others claimed their Grand Master Jacques de Molay cursed king and pope as the flames consumed him. How had warrior monks, born to protect pilgrims, become heretics burned in legend? To answer, we must return to Jerusalem, 1099. After 6 weeks of brutal siege, the First Crusade captured the Holy City. Blood soaked the stones, yet Christian banners flew above the dome of the rock. Pilgrims soon poured into the sacred streets, but danger lingered. Bandits, hostile forces, and unforgiving terrain made the roads deadly. Many never reached Jerusalem. Out of this peril, a new idea emerged. In 1119, 9 knights led by Hugh de Payens vowed to protect pilgrims. They lived by poverty, chastity, and obedience, but took up arms as God's soldiers. King Baldwin II housed them on the Temple Mount, believed to stand on Solomon's temple itself. From this came their name, the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, the Knights Templar. Their seal, 2 knights sharing 1 horse, symbolized poverty and brotherhood. They prayed like monks, fought like warriors, and embodied a radical union of faith and arms. At first, churchmen were uneasy. Monks with swords seemed a contradiction. But Bernard of Clairvaux, one of Europe's most influential clerics, defended them, praising them as holy knights. In 1129, the Council of Troyes recognized the order, granting papal approval. Soon, nobles donated lands and castles. By 1139, Pope Innocent II issued a bull granting the Templars vast privileges, exemption from taxes, immunity from local authority, answerable only to the Pope. This independence fueled both power and envy. Across Europe, Templar commanderies multiplied, fortified estates that generated wealth and men for the Holy Land. They also pioneered finance. Pilgrims could deposit money in Paris and withdraw it in Jerusalem with a coded letter, an early form of international banking. Monarchs too relied on their loans. The Knights of Poverty became bankers of kings. Yet their true reputation was forged in blood. In 1153, they stormed Ascalon, seizing victory but earning resentment for their independence. At Montgassard in 1177, they helped King Baldwin IV rout Saladin against staggering odds. But 10 years later, disaster struck at Hattin. Trapped without water, the Christian army was annihilated. Captured Templars were executed before Saladin himself, refusing to renounce their faith. Soon after, Jerusalem fell. The order fought on from coastal fortresses like Acre and Tortosa, building mighty citadels with secret tunnels to the sea. They defended Acre for a century, their fortress a symbol of defiance. But critics grew louder. Their rigid code and refusal to retreat, once admired, now seemed reckless. Their wealth and secrecy fueled suspicion. Still, they fought alongside Richard the Lionheart in the Third Crusade and secured pilgrim access to Jerusalem through the Treaty of Jaffa. But the dream of Christendom in the East was fading. The Fourth Crusade sacked Constantinople instead of reclaiming the Holy Land. By the 13th century, the Templars defended only fragments. In 1291, Acre, their last bastion, fell. Knights fought to the last man. Some say treasures were spirited away before the walls collapsed. With Acre lost, the Crusader states were gone. The Templars, battle-hardened and land-rich, returned to Europe, warriors without a war. Their financial empire, however, thrived. They owned over 9,000 properties, farms, mills, vineyards. Their banking services became indispensable, financing kings and even nations. Yet their independence bred resentment. Monarchs hated owing them debts they could not control. Philip IV of France, deeply indebted, struck first. On that infamous Friday in 1307, he arrested them all. For years, trials dragged on. Tortured confessions fueled myths of heresy and idolatry. In 1314, Jacques de Molay was burned alive in Paris, cursing those who condemned him. The order was dissolved, its properties seized. But its mystery endured. Did they hide treasure? Did they uncover relics beneath the Temple Mount? Did their knowledge survive in secret societies? The Knights Templar began as humble guardians of pilgrims. They rose to become Christendom's most feared warriors, Europe's earliest bankers, and symbols of unyielding faith. Yet their power made them targets. 7 centuries later, their story remains a haunting paradox of sanctity and suspicion, legend and truth, warriors of Christ consumed by the world they once sought to defend.